This week on The Gadget Show, Suzi and I face the music.
We get shot at in a nightclub to test noise reduction headphones.
And we go head-to-head with professional musicians to test just how good the new game Rock Band really is.
And Jon turns storm chaser to try home weather stations with his own particular brand of exhaustive testing.
You should never travel anywhere without an anemometer.
Hello and welcome to The Gadget Show.
This week, Suzi and I are testing music gadgets. Later on, we're going to be trying our hand at the most popular music video game of the year, and then testing very, very expensive speakers to see if they sound as good as a live performance.
But first up, noise-cancelling headphones.
And earphones.
Yeah, noise-cancelling headphones and earphones.
Surely the best way to listen to music without disturbance from all the other noises around you is with noise-cancelling earphones.
Or headphones.
OK, noise-cancelling earphones and headphones /
My favourites are these Bose Quiet Comfort 3 headphones, which try to actively counteract any external sounds they detect.
Whereas I swear by these Shure SE530 earphones, which basically block out external sound by acting as earplugs. To decide which are best, my Shure earphones or Suzi's Bose headphones, we set up a potentially painful test.
So one of us is going to be standing right here in the middle of the nightclub with our respective headphones and earphones, but we're going to be blindfolded, so we can't see a thing. The other one is going to be darting around the shadows, wielding this pump-action fireball gun. And believe me, when they hit you, they really hurt.
They really do. OK, so the idea is we've got our headphones, earphones, whatever they are on. We're going to be getting instructions in our ears. The idea is that if we can hear them, we'll know which direction the sniper is coming from, turn our shield and protect ourselves.
That sounds all very simple, doesn't it? However, as the game progresses, the noise effects, the sound effects in the club are going to get louder and more irritating, thank you very much, like that, which is going to make it more difficult for us to hear the instructions in our ears. So, whoever gets hit the least is going to win the game and be wearing the best headphones or earphones.
First up, Suzi and her Bose headphones.
In order for you to hear what I'm hearing, we've just taped a tiny little microphone inside my headphones. And if I just put those on and switch on the noise cancelling, you should be able to hear the difference. Right, here we go, switching on now. Hear that? Off. On. OK, I'm ready. The instructions would be played into my headphones at a deliberately low level.
Go noise!
And the external noises would get steadily louder throughout the test. If the Bose noise cancellation didn't work well enough, I would hear nothing.
Go, Suzi!
Incoming fire from the back. Incoming fire from the right.
So, how do the Bose cancel out external sound? Well, little inbuilt microphones pick up external sound waves, and the electronics in the headphones produce an equal and opposite sound wave that cancels out the original noise.
The back.
The Bose were doing a good job of cancelling out the low-frequency sounds that were booming around me, similar to the noise you'd get in an airliner. However, as the test progressed, some higher-pitched sounds were added, and things started to get a bit more tricky for me. It had all got too loud, and I'd misheard the 8th instruction. Johnny's speaking very, very quietly.
Yeah.
With a normal pair of headphones, you just wouldn't even hear him.
So you're impressed with those?
I am impressed. These worked phenomenally well.
Impressive. Am I up next?
It's your turn.
Fantastic.
So, I got 7 instructions right. If Jason could get 8, him and his Shures would win the challenge.
And my earphones were such a snug fit in my ears that there was no way we could sneak a mic in there like we did with Suzi's, so you just have to trust me on this one.
Go noise! Go, Suzi!
Incoming fire from the back.
Ow!
Incoming fire from the right.
Ow!
Luckily, Jason's shield was actually quite small. So, even though he was following the instructions clearly, I could accidentally miss the shield and enjoy myself.
That was right in my jaw!
I was getting confused. My shawls were brilliant.
The left.
I could hear every word of John's instructions very,
The
very
front.
clearly.
The right. Incoming fire from...
I was getting the shield in position every time, but inexplicably, I was getting hit every time.
Despite my best attempts to ruin his day, and despite the noise all around him, Jason did actually hear 8 instructions clearly. So, he won the challenge.
Hooray! Hurrah for the shores!
Oh, but you know what? I don't like putting things in my ears for long periods of time. I find it quite painful.
I don't, you see, but I know a lot of people that feel like that. I mean, but the strange thing is I've got the same problem with those things, and they press on the kind of bony bits of my ears.
Because you've got big flappy ears.
It's because I've got big flappers, admittedly. The important thing is that from that test, I think it's clear that if you want noise reduction, these are the earphones to go with. So that means I'll win the first part of the challenge, Suze.
Yes,
Have you got that?
Time for a break now, but after that...
I have some very worrying news about how your browsing habits may soon be sold off.
And John, Jason and I will rock your world as we test the most excellent game, Rock Band.
Now, I want to talk to you about the weather and the surprisingly enjoyable gadget-based way you can make your own weather observations, the home weather station. People use them for all sorts of reasons. Checking the wind speed prior to a day's surfing or kiteboarding, checking there's enough humidity in the garden for your prize begonias, all from the comfort of your own armchair. Personally, I like them because I like knowing what's going on and measuring it. They're a surprisingly addictive gadget to have around, but as ever, the question is, which one's best? To find out, I packed 3 of the best-looking examples and headed off for a bit of weather chasing. I decided to hit the road and become a weather chaser for a couple of days so I could test the accuracy of my 3 weather stations. The first stop on my adventure was to see the professionals, the Met Office, the brains behind Britain's weather forecasting. Here I can see how accurate the weather stations are by comparing them with super accurate Met Office readings. The Met Office had allowed me on to one of their highly sensitive test sites. Right, let's get them set up and tested. All of the weather stations I'd brought with me have sensors that measure things like pressure, wind, rainfall, temperature and humidity. The Actim Weather Master is a new weather station which is easy to set up, and although the cheapest of our 3 includes the latest features like wireless sensors. The Lacrosse WS2300 is a more expensive choice that allows you to upload and store your weather data to your PC. Oregon Scientific's WMR100 also stores your weather info, and it works with up to 10 additional sensors. Now, all the displays are wireless, so I don't need to stand out here and get my weather readings. I can go into the weather TARDIS over here and compare them with the professional readouts. Well, Oregon least. With Darren, our man from the Met, on hand, we started by assessing the accuracy of the temperature readings.
Now, the real temperature is 13.6, but they all seem to be overreading quite a bit.
Yes.
Well, Oregon least, it's got 14.5. The Actim's over 17. The Lacrosse is nearly 16.
So, at just 1 degree out, the Oregon was the closest. And when it came to air pressure, it fared best again, reading the same as the official Met Office barometer.
Full marks, in this case, to the Oregon, getting it absolutely right.
The Lacrosse and the Actim, however, were several millibars out. The Oregon was also top in humidity, and while the Actim doesn't even have a humidity sensor, it did come out best in wind speed.
So none of the weather stations are absolutely spot on, which is a bit disappointing, but obviously you shouldn't have too high an expectation of home kit. But clearly the one that gets closest is the Oregon.
The next thing I wanted to do was check the forecasting functions of my weather stations, so I needed to go somewhere wild and subject myself to the perils of nature's whim. Dartmoor. My 3 stations all give a 24-hour local forecast, using their barometers to predict changes in atmospheric pressure. The pressure sensors are in the base stations. Lucky for me, as I didn't have to lug all the rest of the kit up a windswept hillside.
Now, the Oregon's showing rain and clouds, whereas the Actim's showing sunshine and clouds, and the Lacrosse, now that's also showing rain and clouds.
Now all I had to do was wait and see if they were right. A couple of hours later and the weather was unchanged, dry and cloudy with a bit of sun. Worryingly, rain was still being predicted by the Oregon and the La Crosse. They either knew something I didn't, or they'd got it wrong. It was looking like the Actim's forecast of sunshine and cloud would turn out to be the most accurate.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
Ooh, this one's just changed. It was saying rain in, it now says clouds and sunshine, which is sort of what's happening. But I can see that, of course.
Finally, after more than 4 hours and seemingly no change in the weather, my test was over.
Well, we've been here now for several hours. Disappointingly, no sign of typhoons or tornadoes. But in terms of accuracy, the Actim has got the weather forecast right. We've got sunshine and clouds, like it says. The Oregon also got it right after a false start, but the La Crosse has got it consistently wrong.
But the weather on the moors just wasn't as nasty as I'd hoped. Now I needed some extremes of climate, and I knew just where to go. The Eden Project's rainforest biome deliberately creates a climate far hotter than the outside world. In here, the temperature is in the high 20s, and the humidity is nearly 100%. It's like stepping into a jungly sauna.
It's really steamy in here.
I wanted to see how fast my stations responded to changes in climate by setting the bases up first and then bringing their temperature sensors from the cold into the heat.
This should be a good spot.
The first one to reach 26 degrees would be the winner. Handily, the Oregon and La Crosse both have alarms which you can set for different weather conditions, including temperature.
Time to get the sensors.
My sensors had been outside, and as I didn't know how fast they'd react to the change in temperature, I had to run back up to my base stations.
You should never travel anywhere without an anemometer.
The race was on.
None of the alarms have gone off yet. The Oregon's reading the highest of the three. The Actim's just behind it. 20.3 on the La Crosse, which is the slowest to react. After an initial spurt, the Oregon seems to have steadied down a bit because now the Actim's in the lead. It's on 24.3 and the La Crosse on 23.6. Could be a closer run thing than we expected.
And it really was a very close finish.
They're all on 25.9. The suspense is heart-stopping. Ah, and the Oregon's gone off first. 26.
Well, John, I thought that was a great test.
Yeah, very
and I
enjoyable.
rather liked that green leaf that you seem to be wearing for the final part.
Yeah, suitably tropical, I thought.
Was that what it was?
Yes.
Hey, but listen though, these weather stations, they were so varied, the results, weren't
Yes,
they?
much more varied than I expected, and by far the worst was the La Crosse, which I'm only going to give 1 G to because it was just totally inaccurate, really, and also it didn't even get the weather forecast right, so...
1 G for that.
1 G for that.
What's next?
2 Gs for the Actim, because it is actually quite good value, but really not accurate enough.
But the Oregon was great, wasn't it?
It was really good, I think, and I'm going to have to give 4 Gs to that because it actually was almost accurate enough to compare with the Met Office's readings.
Wow. So, if you want to buy yourself a weather station, it seems that the Oregon is the one to get.
It's time for some serious stuff. I want to tell you about the murkier side of the internet, or more accurately, the murkier side of the ISPs. The ISPs, or internet service providers, are, if you recall, those people who you pay to provide you, their customers, with access to the internet.
Privacy is something we all value, and in many ways, it's something we take for granted. I mean, if I'm walking down the street, I don't expect someone to try and see what colour pants I've got on, do I?
Me, you didn't.
And if I'm working on my computer, I don't expect anyone to assume it's their right to know what I'm reading.
What are you doing? What is it with you people? But what about when you're on the internet? Is what you're looking at there private? Is it? Are you sure?
I reckon that whatever you're doing on the internet, you should be able to keep it private. I mean, as long as it's not illegal, it's your business, no one else's, and it should stay that way.
But unfortunately, if you've got a contract with one of the top 3 internet service providers in the UK, and 10 million of us do, then your surfing habits may not remain private for long because they intend to sell your browsing habits to advertisers.
BT, Virgin Media and TalkTalk are all involved with a company called Form. Form have developed a new technology called WebWise, which monitors your browsing habits and then delivers advertisements that they say are relevant to the user.
What happens is that advertisers look for keywords that flag certain product categories, for example, cameras, lens, whatever it might be. And what happens is that when they see pages with those keywords in it, they return ads based upon those keywords. It assigns a completely random number to people. And as those random numbers are browsing, it understands the product categories that they're interested in without ever understanding who they are, where they've been before, or any information such as IP address.
And having your web browsing habits sold to Form may not be that far off for a lot of you.
Virgin and TalkTalk have advised us that they're still in the early stages of development, so there's no immediate change to their service. However, if you're with BT, then the changes may be more imminent.
We have signed an agreement with Form, and we will be shortly trialling this new WebWise feature with about 10,000 of our broadband customers. Any future plans are really dependent on that trial. It will be completely optional. So ultimately our customers will decide whether they want this new free feature or not. And that BT has, as I'm sure have the other ISPs involved, done appropriate due diligence and sought extensive legal advice on this in this particular area.
Whether this service is completely optional for all of us will depend on our individual ISPs and how clear and, well, optional they make the service. If you do nothing, will your details be sold to advertisers? Will you actively have to opt out of the scheme if you want your browsing to stay totally private?
Now, we believe this is very, very wrong. In fact, we think your ISP has a moral obligation not to just not sell on your surfing habits, but to keep them completely secure. After all, you are paying them.
And there's even some debate as to whether Form's service is totally legal.
Several people and organizations in the field of privacy and data protection have expressed reservations, to put it mildly, about Form. The Foundation for Information Policy Research has said that in its opinion, Form violates the Regulation Investigatory Powers Act by, in effect, tapping a telephone. That is, by intercepting your communication when you are searching the internet.
Now, we asked Form for their comments on whether or not their service is totally legal. They said there is no legal issue. We comply with all relevant UK laws and have been in consultation with the Information Commissioner's Office and the Home Office.
However, we think that if you want your web browsing to stay private in the future, then it's worth knowing the plans of the leading 3 ISPs and what they have in the pipeline, so we'll keep you posted on that one.
Right now, though, it's time for the focus group.
Each week on the Focus Group, John, Jason and I present the best new gadgets we can find in a particular category to our Focus Group, and they tell us which one they like the best. Now, this week, as the sun is bursting through, summer is desperately trying to get here, our Focus Group is made up of chefs and people that like eating, so we're looking at barbecues. Would you like to go first?
I'd love to go first.
Go on then.
Say hello to the Hyber Vitalo. It's an expensive, brand new design, a new take on barbecues. It uses traditional coals, which I'm going to have to get started, and for that, I need the help from someone. You look like you seriously know what you're doing when it comes to cooking. What's your name?
Philippe, nice to meet you.
Hi, Philippe. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Ça va?
Très bien, et toi?
I haven't a clue what he's talking about. Right, let's get some paper in here, some coals. Let's get going. You get the fire lighters. I tell you what, this might take a while to get it going. Why don't you carry on with yours?
Oh, all right then.
All right.
Everybody over to the patio then. Right, ladies and gents, this is the Coleman Road Trip Pro, and as you can see, it's extremely portable, so if you're into camping or anything like that, it's great. We've just literally got to pull this up and click it into place. So it's not complicated. There we go. So we've got 2 nice little shelves that fold out here, and then you literally just turn on the gas. Unlike old charcoal boy over there, you can get cooking straight away. We've got 7 kilowatts of power here. All we need now is some food.
Here we go.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Enough space to feed all of us today, I think, on here. Great, who's next?
Now, my barbecue is called the Son of Hibachi. It's a portable barbecue that eliminates most of the problems you normally get with portable barbecues. For a start, it's actually extremely portable. Small, fits in this bag. And Ian, you've kindly agreed to demonstrate how easy it is to set up. It slips out the bag and the handles sort of turn into legs. You open it up, you put the charcoal in these 2 areas here, your lighting materials down there, And then once you've set fire to it, you actually close it back up again, and it reaches operating temperature in under 10 minutes, which is really quite spectacular and so easy to do that I've already set another one up here. And when it's all finished, another great thing about it is you just close it back up again, and the temperature then rises up really, really high, and it cleans itself. And within half an hour of you deciding that's it, you can put it back into its own snuff-out pouch.
How's it going, Philippe?
Very well, let's rock and roll this
Rock,
food.
rock and roll. This is the kind of chef's version of your standard barbecue, OK? It's meant for the serious barbecuer. It's made out of stainless steel, which I'm told reliably by Philippe.
Tends to heat.
And it's easy to clean as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not instant like gas, but it does give that lovely charcoaly flavour. In there, though, are fire bricks, OK? They're fire clay. Those fire bricks are a little bit like a storage heater. They just maintain that heat. At the back here, there's a series of vents which get the air flowing. So as I open those, they should actually bring the temperature down. If I close them, it'll take it up again. How's it looking, Philippe? Turn those babies. Let's not burn the food, otherwise this is just pure theory.
As well as demoing our barbecues to the focus group, we gave them some time to get properly hands-on to burn their own sausages, so they could make their minds up about what they like the best.
Would you like a sausage? I quite like the portability of it.
It's very compact, it's light.
This is the sort of thing I would definitely take to Glastonbury in a couple of months' time.
This one is quite girly, isn't it? I do like the sort of compact idea.
Superb barbecue, really well made, really well put together. Nice gas control, which is really useful.
I guess it's the ultimate boys' barbecue.
I think it's actually quite dangerous with children running around because it's extremely hot.
Would I spend that for a barbie? I'm not sure.
Yeah, really.
I'll tell you what, I'll do this bit, shall I?
OK.
It's time, guys, for you to vote for your favourite barbecue. Let's start with mine, the Road Trip Pro. If that was your favourite, put your hand in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. OK, 7 for the Road Trip Pro.
Very good.
John went next.
Right.
The son of the Ibachi. And he goes for that, and he votes, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 for that one. OK. And then finally, Jason's professional bit of kit over here. Any takers on that one?
Hey! Bonjour, ça va?
Excellent.
Ah,
Well,
c'est
that's great.
magnifique, hein?
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, it's pretty categorical. The winner this week on the focus group for the best barbecue is the Road Trip Pro. Oh, come on, pass the kebab over. Time for another short break now, but after that...
We put some ultimate speakers to the ultimate test. Can they really be as good as the real thing?
And if you haven't seen me, Jason and John dressed as rock gods playing the killer computer game Rock Band, then your life is not complete.
Welcome back. It's time to return to this week's music challenge.
The first part was all about noise-cancelling headphones, and Jason won that with his Shores.
Yay!
Yes.
For the second part of the challenge, we decided to focus on speakers, and it was a section of the challenge that would involve us working together, which is rather unusual, isn't it, Suze?
Yeah.
What we wanted to find out is if you need to spend thousands of pounds on speakers, and really, how good can speakers be? Can they be as good as live music?
So we set up a challenge that I think, actually, is one of the most fascinating that we've ever done on The Gadget Show.
The manufacturers claim that these speakers, the KEF 2072s, are the ultimate in both design and technology. The brief given to the engineers was simple: create the ultimate loudspeaker. Money, no object. Each hand-built speaker weighs over 10 stone. A pair will set you back £12,000.
The tweeter in the middle of this mid-range cone features a unique, vented 3-magnet motor system and a braced dome, creating a perfectly time-aligned point source whose directivity is optimised by the reprofiled cone, which obviously you already know means all the important bits of the sound come from the same place.
These are the more modestly priced Mordant Short Mezzo 2s. They cost around £400 and they've received rave reviews for the quality of sound they reproduce. The new Mezzo range of speakers have pinched a bit of technology from Mordant Short's top-of-the-range performance speakers. Now, obviously, they're much smaller, so you're not going to get that depth of bass. But what they have got is this beautiful curved shape that really adds to the rigidity that gives it a very punchy, powerful performance.
We wanted to see whether the really expensive KEF speakers are actually that much better than the Mordant Shorts. They cost 30 times more, so are they 30 times better? But more than that, we wanted to see how closely both sets of speakers can reproduce real sound.
So, we set up what promised to be a fascinating test using this man, Tim Daniel.
In a He's a bit of a star singer-songwriter who supported Take That on their last tour. We wanted to find out if Jason and I could tell the difference between Tim singing live and a recording of the same song being played through our speakers.
First, we had to make the recording of Tim at the Alexandra Theatre, on the same stage where we'd conduct the speaker test, to keep the acoustics identical. To make this test fair, both sets of speakers were plugged into the same top-end Marantz system and carefully positioned by professional sound engineers. Any differences we heard would be purely down to the speakers.
The final component needed for the test was us. Blindfolded, we were led to our seats, and then we were finally ready to begin.
For acoustic consistency, Tim sat on the stage throughout the whole test, even though the first time we heard his song, it was the recording being played through the cheapest speakers, the 400 quid Mordant Shorts.
Hand in hand, the local pub, all reports suggest we're looking good. Yeah, and I agree entirely. There's something deep inside of me still reaching.
Wow. Wow.
The sound was really lovely, wasn't it? Very nice and rounded. If that's not live, that's an amazing sound.
I just felt that there was a crispness to it.
It was a real mellow sound.
It was very mellow, which is why, for me, at this point, it could still be a recording.
Next.
Where's the stage again?
Next to perform was Tim, the live act. Of course, he had to play exactly the same as the recording and give us exactly the same vocal nuances, or we wouldn't be fooled.
Oh, my please God. Tell me that was the live one. That was live. That was, where are you?
I can't believe it.
That was punchier, though, than the first one.
It felt live.
It did feel live, because for me, it felt like it was coming from there.
Very directional, very much so.
Finally, it was time for the high-spec KEF speakers. £12,000 worth of voice coils, woofers and tweeters.
I feel like I'm yet to swim. When do we stop reaching? I try, as hard as I try, I'm failing. Digging my heels in. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, my Lord.
Do you know, the parity of those three sounds is unbelievable.
It was a fantastic sound, wasn't it?
Yeah, extraordinary.
I mean, it made goose pimples come up on my arm.
Number 3 was a big kind of deep sound.
I believe so, yeah.
Number 1 was a mellow, softer sound, rounded, softer sound.
But uncannily real, as indeed was number 3.
Yeah, and number 2...
just was so directional that it felt like a real guy.
It was decision time. Would we get it right?
I think that Tim was number 2. I think the live track was number 2. I think the KEFs were number 3.
Yeah, I agree. The expensive ones were number 3.
And I think the Mordant Shots were number 1.
Yeah, I agree again. The cheaper speakers were the first ones we heard.
We'd got it bang on.
Yes!
Although it had been a really, really tough call.
Oh, that was tough, wasn't it?
It was a great test,
A really good test. Genuinely very, very difficult to tell the difference between the less expensive Mordant Shorts and Tim's live performance.
Yeah, the 400 quid speakers, the live guy, they sounded different, but deciding which was which, for me anyway, it was quite lucky that I guessed it right. I mean, it was that difficult. These speakers, obviously, you know, for the money, £12,000, the KEFs, they're great. But if it's a live feel that you're after, you can't do better than the Mordant Shorts.
Welcome back. Now it's time for the final part of our music challenge.
This was all about us testing a game that's set to be one of the most popular this year. Ready?
Yep, I'm ready. It's called Rock Band, and rather than just tell you about it, we thought we'd show you how it works by playing the guitars of doom.
OK, hit it then, Jace. So you'll have heard of Guitar Hero, where you get to live out your rock star fantasies in your bedroom, playing the guitar to some amazing tunes. Well, this really is the natural progression from that.
But you can get your mates in and they can play bass guitar, sing, or play the drums.
Depending on what your instrument is, look, I'm still holding that chord. You follow the icons on the screen as they scroll towards you on this timeline thing here.
And if you are going to be the singer, you need to be pretty good at karaoke because you need to get the words in the right order and you also need to be in tune.
What we wanted to do is to decide whether it's just a bit of fun or if Rock Band can be used to spot some genuine rock god talent.
So we set up a challenge to see if us amateurs stood a cat and hell's chance against some pros.
This is Sack Sabbath, Britain's finest Black Sabbath tribute band. Black Sabbath were, of course, fronted by legendary wildman Ozzy Osbourne.
I think you'll agree they're pretty good, and using these chaps, we have set up the ultimate test for the Rock Band game.
Uncanny!
Sack Sabbath will go head-to-head with us, playing Sabbath's most famous track, Paranoid, in the game.
Will these hardened musicians play the game better than a group of rank amateurs? That's us, by the way.
We all had a few minutes practice, then it was game on.
Practice over. It's now time to get down to business, Suze, all right? The serious business of rock. And we need a lead singer.
Yes, I know. I've been thinking about this. The mirror image of Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
Howling Jon Bentley.
Yay! John!
Perfect.
This is an awesome responsibility.
It is.
Imitating one of Birmingham's most famous sons.
Well, guys, this is a very, very serious business.
Okay.
It is. Because our aggregate scores, our accuracy is going to be added together, all right? And it's Gadget Sabbath versus Sack Sabbath, and I want to win, all right?
All right.
Winner takes it all.
No, that's ABBA.
Oh, yeah.
First up, the professionals.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sack Sabbath!
Let's rock.
These guys were good, really good, and the game was telling them by feeding back loads of applause and cheering.
Wow, stunning stuff. The virtual crowd loved it, and they scored extra points for long streams of correct notes.
They averaged 95%, and that would be hard to beat. But we love a challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the one, the only, Gadget Sabbath!
Finish with my woman, 'cause she couldn't help me with my mind. People think I'm insane because I am crying all the time.
John was a revelation, Suzi was a vision in leather, and I was in rock heaven. And brilliantly, we were clocking up the points. Could we beat the pros?
It was all over. What a great gig. What a crowd.
But had we done it, could our gaming skills win out over the professionals' musical talents?
Nice performance, John.
Thank you very much. The question is, though, did we beat them? Did we manage a higher score? Did we manage to trounce the professionals? Well, I can exclusively reveal the results on my special piece of rock paper on which I have our score. Now, as you remember, Sack Sabbath scored an average of 95%.
It's high.
But Gadget Sabbath, in our own exclusive version of Paranoid, managed a grand total of
96.
97.
92%.
Oh,
92?
No!
We lost?
We've got to do some more practice.
We didn't even use the drums and they're the hardest
All right,
thing.
so we practice with the drums and the singing, John.
Yes, okay.
All right?
I need my hair,
Okay.
though. I need my hair.
Oh, I
Here we
tell you
go.
what,
Right.
at this point of the proceedings, I think you should leave
Right,
us.
here we go.
Good night from the Gadget Show.
See you
Ready,
next
chaps? Okay.